Let me tell you a horror story. A 52-year-old executive walks into my clinic, or more accurately, zooms in from his home gym, which has approximately $14,000 worth of equipment he uses twice a month to dust off his golf clubs. He's beaming. He's down 34 pounds on Retatrutide. His bespoke Italian suits fit again. His primary care physician is practically framing his latest metabolic panel. His Instagram carousel is going to crush. Then I look at his body composition scan. He's lost 21 pounds of pure, unadulterated fat. Excellent. Truly. Chef's kiss. He's also lost 13 pounds of lean muscle mass. 13 pounds. That's not a rounding error. That's a small dog. That's the functional equivalent of deciding to renovate your house by taking a sledgehammer to a load-bearing wall because you didn't like the color of the drywall. Welcome to the dirty, unspoken secret of the modern GLP-1 and multi-agonist revolution. The bathroom scale is lying to you, your muscles are quietly evacuating the premises, and nobody in the pharmaceutical marketing department is losing sleep over it. After all, their quarterly earnings report doesn't have a line item for patient can still get off the toilet unassisted at age 70. If you are researching peptide therapies like our specialized protocols at ARTC, or looking into options like best weight loss peptides, it is time to wake up. Let's dissect the clinical reality behind the hype, examine why muscle loss on Retatrutide is a looming catastrophe, and look at exactly how to prevent sarcopenia weight loss injections Sarasota residents and longevity seekers alike rely on. Here's what the clinical literature actually says about rapid weight loss and skeletal muscle degradation, and let's be entirely clear. This isn't specific to Retatrutide alone. This is a universal biological tax on caloric deficits. Across virtually every weight loss intervention ever studied in human history, whether through extreme calorie restriction, bariatric surgery, or advanced pharmacology, approximately 20 to 40% of the weight you lose comes from lean tissue, not fat. The exact percentage depends on how aggressively uninformed you are about the underlying biochemistry. Dr. Caroline Apovian, a prominent obesity medicine specialist at Harvard, puts the baseline lean mass loss at roughly 25% across the board. Other landmark reviews published in Diabetes Care and Advances in Nutrition confirm the same dismal range. Fat mass accounts for 70 to 75% of weight loss, while fat-free mass accounts for 25 to 30%. And if you're starting from a normal weight or mild overweight category to begin with, that muscle loss percentage climbs to 35% or higher. Why? Because your body, being the pragmatic, brutal little survival machine that it has evolved to be over millions of years of famine, looks at your dwindling fat stores and calculates, well, the biceps are made of protein, and protein is calories, and I don't see a woolly mammoth carcass anywhere on the horizon, so I guess I'll snack on some quad tissue. This is basic mammalian biology. It is not negotiable. It is what happens when you operate at a massive caloric deficit without actively signaling to your physiology that muscle is non-negotiable structural currency. And Retatrutide, the shiny new triple agonist everyone on the internet is obsessing over, does not magically exempt you from the laws of thermodynamics. In fact, due to its unique pharmacological profile, it might actually accelerate the demolition. Before we examine the triple agonist wildfire that is Retatrutide, let's look at what happened with its older, slightly less destructive siblings. In the Step 1 trial, the landmark study that made semaglutide, Ozempic/Wegovy a household name and a punchline on late-night talk shows, participants lost an average of 23 pounds of fat and 15 pounds of lean muscle over 68 weeks. Let me do the math for you, because apparently the marketing executives at Big Pharma were too busy counting venture capital to bother. That is roughly 40% of total weight loss coming directly from lean mass. 40%. You could flip a coin in a dark alley and get closer to a pure fat loss outcome than those clinical trial participants did. Now, the apologists and telehealth pill pushers will rush in with their defensive talking points. But they didn't exercise, they cry. They were on a very low-calorie diet. They weren't eating enough protein. All true. And all completely irrelevant to the unsuspecting patient currently injecting themselves in the guest bathroom before a Friday night dinner party, naively assuming the peptide is doing all the heavy lifting while they sit on the couch watching Netflix. Semaglutide, with its relatively simple GLP-1 receptor agonism, already strips muscle at an alarming rate when left to its own devices. Tirzepatide, Mounjaro/Zepbound, adds GIP agonism, improving metabolic flexibility, but still leaves lean mass vulnerable. Then along comes Retatrutide, and with it, a third hormonal player that changes the entire game. Here's where Retatrutide diverges sharply from the GLP-1 drugs you already know, and where the muscle conversation goes from concerning to genuinely terrifying. Retatrutide is a triple agonist. It hits 3 distinct G-protein-coupled hormone receptors simultaneously: GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1, suppresses appetite, delays gastric emptying, and stimulates glucose-dependent insulin secretion. GIP, glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide, enhances insulin sensitivity, clears lipids, and provides synergistic satiety. Glucagon, the wild card, the metabolic blowtorch. That third receptor, glucagon, is what makes Retatrutide a marvel of modern pharmacology and a potential nightmare for your biceps. Glucagon is catabolic. That's its entire evolutionary job description. When your blood sugar drops, or your body needs immediate energy, glucagon is released by the pancreas to mobilize stored fuel. It breaks down hepatic glycogen, mobilizes fatty acids from adipose tissue, and under conditions of severe caloric restriction or prolonged fasting, it actively turns to skeletal muscle protein to generate glucose via gluconeogenesis. Think of it this way. Semaglutide is like hiring a bouncer who stands at the door of your kitchen and won't let you in. Tirzepatide adds a nutritionist who rearranges your pantry. Retatrutide adds an arsonist who, in addition to burning down your visceral fat stores, is entirely willing to throw a Molotov cocktail at your quadriceps if the energy pantry runs low. The Surmount clinical trials reported lean mass changes, but the reporting in corporate press releases was, let's call it, strategically optimistic. They noted that the percentage of lean mass relative to total body weight remained relatively stable, which sounds wonderfully reassuring until you understand basic ratios. If you start at 250 pounds with 30% body fat, you carry roughly 175 pounds of lean mass. You drop 60 pounds total. If 36 of those pounds are fat and 24 are lean, you're now 190 pounds with roughly 24% body fat. Your lean mass percentage actually went up on paper. You look slender in a tailored blazer. You are also 24 pounds weaker, structurally compromised, and metabolically more vulnerable than you were before. That isn't preserved lean mass. That is corporate PR spin for, we did structural damage, but hey, your silhouette looks great in a mirror. Let me be unapologetically direct about why this matters to you, specifically if you care about your health span, functional independence, and biological age. Skeletal muscle is not a vanity project. Muscle is not just something you flex on a beach or maintain to look good in swimwear. Muscle is the single most important endocrine and metabolic organ system in the human body. Consider the facts. Glucose disposal. Skeletal muscle is responsible for over 80% of insulin-mediated glucose disposal. When you lose muscle mass, you destroy your primary metabolic sink for dietary carbohydrates. Myokine production. Contracting muscle tissue releases myokines, powerful anti-inflammatory signaling molecules that crosstalk with your brain, bones, immune system, and cardiovascular network. Functional resilience. Sarcopenia, age-related muscle wasting, is one of the single strongest independent predictors of all-cause mortality in older adults. Stronger than cholesterol levels, stronger than systemic blood pressure in many longitudinal cohorts. When you lose 15 or 20 pounds of lean muscle on a blockbuster weight loss injection while ignoring structural support, you haven't optimized your health. You've performed a controlled demolition of your metabolic reserve. You've traded visceral fat for functional frailty. If you want to understand how we approach this safely and comprehensively, explore our specialized medical protocols at peptide-therapy-Sarasota and our targeted treatments like semaglutide-Sarasota. Okay, enough cynicism. Let's talk solutions. Because, let's be honest, Retatrutide and advanced multi-agonists are phenomenal clinical tools when deployed correctly. The visceral fat clearance is staggering. The liver fat reduction seen in metabolic dysfunction-associated steatotic liver disease, MASLD, is borderline miraculous. If you are metabolically dysfunctional, these peptides can literally save your life, but you cannot take them like a lazy magic bullet. If you are going to use triple agonists, you must wrap them in a ruthless, non-negotiable preservation protocol. Here's the exact blueprint I give my patients. 1. Progressive resistance training. The mechanical mandate. I don't care how busy you are. I don't care if your calendar is packed with Zoom meetings. I don't care if you hate the gym. The clinical literature is crystal clear. Resistance training is the ultimate anabolic shield. In studies pairing hypocaloric diets with heavy resistance exercise, participants lost virtually zero lean mass while dropping significant fat. You must lift heavy things, compound movements, progressive overload, mechanical tension, at least 3 to 4 times per week. Squats, deadlifts, presses, rows, and loaded carries. If you want to maximize mechanical efficiency and stimulate deep muscle fibers without trashing your joints, incorporate advanced modalities such as the adaptive equipment used in our ARTC protocols. If you are on a GLP-1 or Retatrutide protocol and you are skipping the gym, you are not biohacking. You are participating in medically supervised wasting syndrome. 2. Protein architecture, the leucine threshold. The outdated RDA for protein, 0.8 grams per kilogram, was designed to prevent deficiency in sedentary populations, not to protect lean tissue during aggressive pharmacological weight loss in a toxic modern food environment. Toss it out. You need to target 1.0 to 2.0 grams of protein per pound of target body weight daily. If you weigh 220 pounds and want to land at a muscular 180, you are eating for 180 pounds of lean mass. Furthermore, timing matters. You must hit the leucine trigger, roughly 2.5 to 3.0 grams of leucine per meal, translating to 30 to 40 grams of high-quality bioavailable protein to activate the mTOR pathway and stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Spread this across 3 to 4 daily meals. Do not try to eat 150 grams of protein in one evening meal like a python digesting a goat. 3. Creatine monohydrate, the $20 cellular insurance policy. 5 to 10 grams of pure creatine monohydrate every single day, forever. Creatine is not just for 20-year-old bodybuilders slamming shakes in university locker rooms. It is one of the most thoroughly researched, safest, and most profoundly effective longevity supplements on earth. It enhances cellular hydration, supports mitochondrial ATP regeneration, boosts cognitive performance, and directly aids in lean mass retention during caloric restriction. If you are spending hundreds of dollars a month on advanced peptides and skipping a $20 tub of creatine, you have fundamentally lost the plot. 4. Hormonal optimization, the anabolic environment. When you plummet into a deep caloric deficit driven by potent appetite suppression, your endocrine system notices. For men, total and free testosterone often tanks. For women, estrogen and progesterone fluctuations can disrupt recovery and body composition. Get your comprehensive hormone panels evaluated. If your endocrine axis is depressed, you are fighting a losing battle against catabolism. Optimizing testosterone, optimizing thyroid function, and supporting hormonal balance ensures your body maintains the anabolic signaling necessary to hold on to muscle while shedding pathological fat. 5. Track body composition, not bathroom lies. Throw your bathroom scale in the garbage or at least relegate it to weighing your suitcase before a flight. A scale tells you your total gravitational pull on planet Earth. It tells you nothing about whether you just lost 5 pounds of visceral fat or 5 pounds of heart muscle and quadriceps. You need objective data, DEXA scans, bioimpedance analysis, BIA, waist-to-hip ratios, and segmental lean mass tracking every 8 to 12 weeks. If your lean mass drop exceeds 10 to 15% of your total weight loss, your protocol is broken. Adjust your calories, increase your resistance training intensity, and fix your protein intake immediately. Let's dispense with the illusion. Retatrutide and next-generation multi-agonists are not toys. They are metabolic sledgehammers. When guided by precision biomarker testing, expert clinical oversight, and an uncompromising dedication to structural preservation, they are arguably the most powerful tools we have ever possessed for reversing metabolic disease and cardiovascular risk. But the wellness industry has spent decades convincing you that the number on the bathroom scale is the ultimate scorecard of human vitality. It is not. The true scorecard is whether you can get off the floor without using your hands at age 80. The scorecard is whether your metabolic flexibility is intact, your visceral inflammation is crushed, and your functional capacity is bulletproof. Stop guessing with your biochemistry. Stop starving yourself into sarcopenia under the glow of a ring light. Ready to optimize your longevity the right way? If you are done chasing superficial scale drops and want a precision, medically supervised protocol that protects your muscle, reverses metabolic disease, and extends your health span, let's talk.